how are you going to get a girl from all the way from the apartment to the garage? He says, unless you knock her out or something. And Angela went behind her, and he grabbed her one arm. I grabbed her other arm. Angela smiled at me, and I knew he approved.
Killed her. Angelo killed her.
After watching 17 hours of videotapes of Ken Bianchi under hypnosis claiming he was guilty, what I was seeing was a man broken down, put through psychiatric excesses to confess against himself to the point in which he believed his own false confession.
Okay, and you remember where she was taken?
There's, with the exception of the first girl, without the use of the Los Angeles material, the investigative reports, I couldn't really tell you exactly where the bodies were dumped.
My confessions, I've said under hypnosis, were not reliable. They did not match up with the facts.
My lawyer handed me materials for the case through discovery.
And I essentially realized that I had no first-hand information about the crimes or who committed the crimes. That all the information was second-hand information from news reports.
The two women, strangled, were stuffed in the back area of the car.
The police files or cops. What I read was planted in my memory during hypnosis subconsciously, and I came out of it believing I committed crimes. I had literally false memory syndrome.
How about down in L.A. with Angelo? Has he killed anybody?
Yeah,
How many?
he has. 5 girls.
Did you watch him kill them all?
You bet I did.
You can be sure that he killed those 5.
Positively, without a doubt.
Did you kill any down there?
Yep, I did.
How many?
4 of them.
Watkins would ask one leading question after the other. And he wasn't the only one that asked leading questions. Ellison did the same thing too. He would make a statement in the form of a question, and I ended up providing an answer that was not the truth. But he assumed it was the truth.
When these doctors came in, they were fumbling around, and they did have ulterior motives. Dr. Allison had a book coming out, and he wanted to get the world record for most multiple personality cases, you know, and so he may have been leading with information.
Why have you decided not to kill anyone?
Fuck, I know.
Was that when he decided to move?
I wanted to. I wanted to fucking kill more broads, you know?
When you're under hypnosis, you're susceptible to somebody telling you that a memory happened when it didn't happen, creating false memories. So a clinician, if they're hypnotizing you, they could tell them what their memory is when it was actually not what happened at all.
You remember being at the office, you say?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was that particular night in January the 10th or 11th, something like that. Yeah. Okay.
There was actually a famous study called Lost in the Mall. Basically, you could implant the memory of being lost in a mall with hypnosis. And that 25% of the people had apparently never been lost in a mall as a child. But under hypnosis, they became convinced that they had been lost in the mall as a child. Believe it or not, it's pretty easy to implant a lot of things into a person's mind. Yeah.
even bothered to warn me that there were real dangers to using hypnosis to retrieve or refresh memories. That once hypnotized, there would be a tendency to recall those memories that never existed, yet be convinced those memories are real and more.
With the hypnosis, they led him down a path of, now confess, and now he's convinced he did it. If Ken was hypnotized, yes, his argument could be plausible, for sure. But chances are, in my opinion and from what I've seen, I don't think Ken was ever hypnotized.
You want to play games? I'll play games. I want him out of the way. You don't fucking understand.
Just keep looking at one. Just keep thinking over and over in your mind that you're feeling very tired.
We know that people absolutely can be hypnotized. We can see there's plenty of fMRI studies that show what happens to the brain. There are different techniques to get people to be in a state where they're susceptible to things that you are now going to lead them towards.
Close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. Imagine I have no desire to smoke.
But here's a fun fact about hypnosis. Unless you want to be hypnotized, you can't be hypnotized. So for someone like Kenneth Bianchi, I don't know if he would allow himself to be that vulnerable.
Your hand dropping down, down, down.
And I think that for any kind of serial killer, being in the non-dominant position, it's too risky.
Hold on.
When you've got someone who's hypnotized, it's often really slow and quiet and figuring it out in a haze. None of this was the behavior of Ken. It's way too awake. There's a lot of energy, there's a lot of movement. I think that Ken saw doctors that seemed kind of excited, and I really think he was thinking, I am smarter than all these people. But after Dr. Watkins and Dr. Allison assessed Ken, the prosecution brings in their guys. And their job is to be more skeptical about this whole situation.
Hi, Dr. Warren.
Hi, good to see you.
How you doing?
One of the experts I had was Dr. Martin Orne, who was a world expert in hypnosis and looking at people who are simulating being hypnotized.
He seems like a pleasant, cooperative individual, but whenever I see an individual in a forensic situation, somebody accused of premeditated murder facing a death penalty, I always have to ask myself, is this individual telling me how he really feels, or is he malingering or faking?
When Orne comes in, he does a couple of pretty clever things. One of them, he's like, all right, what if we suggest that Dean Brett, who is Kenneth's attorney, we're going to have him show up, but an imaginary Dean Brett.
I asked him to hallucinate Mr. Brett, his attorney.
Shortly, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. When I do, the one Mr. Brett will have come in, and he will be sitting in the chair right beside you. Open your eyes. Look at Mr. Brett. He wants to talk.
Hey, Dean. How you doing?
I'll leave you to talk to him for a few moments. I'll be back.
You want to hear the baby yet?
The immediacy at which, Ken jumps up, shakes the hand of Dean Brett, and, so right there it feels like malingering.
Even more striking, though, is what he does when I ask him to describe Dean Brett.
What are we going to talk about, the three of us?
Well, I want you to describe Dean to me in some detail. What is he shaven?
Oh, no. Beard? God, you can see him. You must be able to see him. His hair isn't cold as usual.
You wouldn't say that In my opinion, and you wouldn't be saying like, don't you see him? It's like you assume a person sees him. You would just say, yeah, I see him. You wouldn't be like, don't you? It's, again, that part right there feels malingery. And then you've got him having the real Dean Brett showing up.
Tell me, who is this over here? Dean Brett. Who is this? The Dean Brett is here. The Dean Brett is here. How can it be in two places? Me. Dean. Which one is real? He's real. Because he's not there anymore.
In my opinion, this all feels like a charade.
He's seen Three Faces of Eve, the film, which is like an education in how to fake a multiple personality.
Have you ever heard of multiple personality?
In the 70s, Hollywood was really interested in this whole idea. We've got the Three Faces of Eve, we've got Sybil.
And I used to think that everybody was like this, that they would just naturally wake up and be someplace else or a whole lot older or wearing another dress.
It exploded to the point where now, in the court systems, this is becoming a question. Can we use this for the defense?
The judge ruled today that Billy Milligan was not responsible for the crimes of rape, kidnapping, and robbery.
That man was found not guilty by reason of insanity because he had multiple personalities.
It was a huge deal. A couple months after that, Kenneth Bianchi's case. So it's possible that attorney Dean Brett is thinking to himself, maybe we can use this for Kenneth Bianchi.
You haven't come out in jail at all here?
Yeah, I fucking used to.
To do what?
Anything I fucking wanted.
We're watching the videotape. We eject the tape out. I said, what do you think? He said, well, look what I wrote. His notebook said total bullshit, and mine said bullshit.
It was a joke. It was a joke.
There's a performative nature to this, and I believe Kenneth Bianchi has been performing his whole life.
What's your name? Steve?
One of the psychologists said, who is that now? He says, that's Steve. Steve got a last name?
He did have a last name.
What was it?
I can't remember.
Well, what's Steve?
Walker.
Walker. Oh, where did you get that name?
He says, Walker. Steve Walker. I said, oh, geez, we got this name.
And he jumps. And he went and found this piece of paper that said Steve Walker written on it. So I think, whoa.
And then there were some transcripts that were found from local schools in LA in Bianchi's name, which didn't make much sense. So we went to Valley College, said, we're working this murder case, and here's a transcript we found. Could you tell us who it belongs to? She looks at it, and she says, well, I can tell you right now it doesn't belong to that name. This transcript belongs to an individual by, I think it was Thomas Stephen Walker. And we looked at each other and we said, bingo, we got you.
They asked me if I recognized the name that was at the top of the paper. I looked up expecting to see my own name, instead seeing the name of Kenneth A. Bianchi.
I said, how would an individual get these from you? He said, well, I applied for a lot of jobs when I graduated.
I had answered an ad in the Los Angeles Times Classified for a job.
So then we spent 4 days down in the archives grinding those old tapes of LA Times.
The one ad we found was a one ad for a counselor or psychologist. Send your resume and transcripts. 610 Verdugo, Glendale. Well, that had been an address Bianchi had lived at. We knew we were onto something there. We wrote it up, sent it up to Bellingham, showed it to Bianchi, and he realized that he had been caught in one of his major lies.
That was a massive blow to the defense, because now they realize we're screwed. Our insanity defense is crumbling. This person is some dude that he conned.
Once they got this report, Bianchi decided, hey, I got a snowball's chance in hell. You know, I've got to change my plea.
My defense has been destroyed. Dean Brett, my defense lawyer, told me in no uncertain terms, you're going to get the death penalty in both states. You're going to be put to death. And it scared the hell out of me. It scared me straight. So I decided I needed to change the plea agreement and testify against Angelo.
He was attempting to do anything he could to stop the state from killing him, including making false confessions against himself and others. He was a broken man who could be manipulated.
The Los Angeles District Attorney didn't feel like he had enough to arrest Angelo Buono.
Angelo Buono was still on the streets. When I'd see him in the restaurant, I would just get really scared, and I didn't want to be around him.
All of the agencies in Los Angeles, they really needed help. They needed help from Ken Bianchi to be able to convict Buono.
So we went up to Bellingham to assess Bianchi as a potential witness against Angelo Buono. I felt if he was a believable witness and we could corroborate it, we could convict Buono.
There had been unconfirmed reports of plea bargaining efforts in the case, including reports of Bianchi waiving extradition to Los Angeles and changing his not guilty plea to the Bellingham charges in exchange for Whatcom County not asking for the death penalty. Bellingham authorities will not comment on those unconfirmed reports.
The Los Angeles PD, the sheriff's office, they came up to Bellingham. They wanted to know what our case was like, and we wanted to know what their case is like. If their case wasn't very good and they couldn't convict him, I didn't want to give up the death penalty here in Washington. So I wanted to make sure they had a reasonable case so that if I was going to give something up, it was reasonable to give up.
Once we got up to Bellingham, all the investigators and the agencies wanted first crack at Bianchi. And there was a lot of politicking going on. LAPD got him first, so we listened to all the interviews that we didn't participate in. We're sitting there listening when they were talking to him about Christina Weckler, and he's telling the detectives what they did when they got back to Angelo's business.
On Christina Weckler, after she was dead and nude on the floor, he reached up and got the needle, the syringe. He made a crack about checking to see if she's dead or not. And he took the syringe and he poked her pubic area a couple of times.
We've got a series of murder photos where we're listening, and Pete grabs a photo and he brings it over and he says, look, the injection mark on her hip. LAPD didn't ask him that. They didn't say, hey, what about that injection mark? He brought it up. And we finally got to interview Bianchi. We went in and looked at where he was being interviewed. We took the table, put him so he's looking straight at the wall, so he had no room to move. We were smoking cigars, closed all the doors.
When we first sat down to talk to him, he just came across as a sleazy con man, and he was of the opinion he was going to be on the team. He had all this paperwork. Frank stood up and he just swept all that stuff onto the floor. He said, you're not going to need that shit. We're going to talk about real stuff.
We're interested in doing one thing, and it's interviewing you, knowing what you know, what you did.
What I knew then or what I know now.
Ken, we're not going to play that game.
Well, there's a difference.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Just
I'm
be
not,
quiet.
I'm not going to play that either.
Okay.
There is a big difference.
Be quiet and listen to me. All right? We're not playing that game. Don't think you're going to try and run it through on us, all right? We're interested in what you know. what you did, what Bono did, and his involvement.
When I say,
listen to me.
Don't talk to me in that tone of voice. I'm not some kind of animal.
Listen, you can listen to us, and you can be interviewed by us, but you're not going to interview us.
I'm cooperating.
We're trying to determine your worth as a witness, all right? That's all we want, and it's not going to work any other way. Why? We want to talk to you about the Cindy Hudspeth case.
We set her in the trunk of the car. He took off, and I followed him to Angeles Crest. Angelo's behind the car. Tom's on the trunk of the car. And he and I both pushed it, and...
You say Angelo pushed from the rear?
That's correct.
I thought he was lying because the car landed, hood up.
We thought the car had been pushed over backwards. We're saying, wait a minute, is he telling us the truth or not? Then we went to CHP and had a report written.
They came back and they said, that car was driven in, they pushed it over front first. It auto-rotated because it hit big boulders that turned it around and it landed facing up the hill.
The other thing he told us, they put every girl they took to the shop, ligatured, and put them in one chair in one room.
The three of us walked into the house and said, why don't you have a seat? And he pointed to the leather chair and she sat down in it. And I turned around and got behind her when she was sitting in the chair.
On the Wagner case, the palms of her hands had burn marks. And we were fortunate enough to pull fibers out of the chair that matched fibers that were on Wagner's hands. There were so many things he told us that only the killer would know. Another thing that we were able to corroborate was from one of the various interviews by the psychologists and psychiatrists.
The thing with the hillside killings was the pretending to be police officers, that sort of thing.
That was one of the more important things he told us, how they were operating. And it's exactly what they were doing.
Were there people who were considered as victims but then rejected?
Yes. Peter Lorre's daughter was going to be a victim. Somehow the notoriety, the fact that who she was, Peter Lorre's daughter, somehow stifled whatever was going on. I can remember her showing the pictures of her sitting on her father's lap.
Peter Lorre was a well-known actor in Hollywood. Actually played a serial murderer in a film, which was sort of ironic.
With her, you go up to her and show her a badge?
Yes.
And what do you say?
Hi, we're police officers. You should step over to the car, please.
What he said about Kathy Lorre, nobody knew about. Kathy Lorre didn't even report it. It was an unreported attempt, all right? And he tells us about it. We found her. She corroborated. She says, yeah, I was stopped once.
This car came around the corner and just cut us off. At which point, two men got out of the car. The one on the driver's side, Bianchi, who started questioning me for ID and age. The other one, Bono, who was on the other side of the car, standing in the doorway with his head just showing over the car, and both of them were just kind of flashing badges.
She identifies Bianchi and Bono as having tried to kidnap her but they backed off. On top of that, as luck would have it, we got a phone call from Detective Stan White, who's working Homicide Bureau. He says, Frank, listen to this. He says, an attorney who's a friend of mine, David Wood, recognized Bianchi when his name was put out in the paper and his picture. He said, Bianchi, along with his partner, Angelo Bono, their crime partners running an out-call service.
David Wood had got a copy of the Los Angeles Free Press, which had a lot of personal ads in it for out-call stuff and massages. And so he called one, and gal shows up. It was a lady by the name of Becky Spears. She had one of those credit card machine, you put the card in, and he got a receipt for Angelo's Trim Shop for services rendered. Becky was a runaway from Arizona. It became obvious to him that she wasn't being treated very well.
Did they work together?
Yes, they did.
How closely?
Very closely.
Becky Spears led us to Sabra Hannon. They had worked for Bianchi and Bono as out-call prostitutes. So we'd interviewed both young ladies.
After I graduated high school, I did some runway modeling. I will be honest, I was a very street-savvy kid. I spent a year going back and forth from Phoenix to California. I would come and I would visit friends. One of them asked if I would be interested in meeting this individual that was looking for models. And I kind of thought, sure, because I thought it was a way of getting into the modeling scene in California. They flew me out to California to meet Ken, and I thought, okay, well, you know, here's an individual. They're going to spot my plane fare. Met him at the airport, picked me up, and I'll never forget. He said, hey, do you want a drink? And I said, sure. Got me an orange juice out of a vending machine. By the time I got to the car, I knew I had been drugged. And by then, it was too late. The next place that I ended up was at Angelo Bono's. That's when the horror began. I was forced into prostitution. They demanded of me to do things that were unimaginable with not only themselves, but with others. I was being, you know, pursed out to individuals of power. And I had seen elected officials or law enforcement at Angelo's shop, casually meeting with him.
Do you think that's how they got their badges?
I know that's how they got their badges. I saw badges being traded. You know, when you're 17, where do you go? I'm going to go tell the local police department who I feel are involved.
If I ever decided I wanted to turn them in or run away, they threatened to take me so far out in the country that I would never find my way back, or really mess me up so I'd be a vegetable the rest of my life or never look the same.
I was being watched, and every move I made, they knew. And they knew exactly what I purchased, exactly how much was spent, exactly where I even stopped to get a drink. So I'd always been thinking in my mind, what do I do? How do I get out of this without being followed? You don't have a vehicle, you don't have any means of transportation. So you are driven to different locales. I knew one of the drivers was planning on leaving Los Angeles to go back home. One night, early to midsummer of 1977, Angelo and Ken told me that I needed to be there at 2 o'clock and they were coming and I better be there. I knew something bad was about to happen because the night before, my whole place had been completely ransacked. So I knew it was going to be bad, whatever it was. You start having the palpitations and you can feel your heart beat in your carotid artery. And that little voice inside of me said, get out now. That's when I asked the driver if he would please come and get me out of here. I'll pay for anything you need. And literally I was out within, I want to say, 10 minutes. And this is just a small part of the story.
Both Sabra and Becky laid out the fact that they were living at Bono's house. He and Bianchi were quite abusive to them. It was obvious that they were crime partners.
That was a major break in the case. Now we felt we would be able to convict Bono of these murders.
Our agreement for the plea to avoid the death penalty was that Bianchi would testify against his cousin, and in doing so, he would give up his right to go to trial.
In Bellingham, Washington today, Kenneth Bianchi pleaded guilty to murdering 2 college co-eds, and he confessed to killing at least 5 of the women who were victims of the Hillside Strangler in Los Angeles. Police say Bianchi agreed to confess in exchange for escaping the death penalty in both states.
I can't find the words to express the sorrow I feel for what I've done. In no way can I take away the pain that I've given to others. And in no way can I expect forgiveness from anybody. To even begin to try and live with myself, I have to take responsibility for what I've done. And I have to do everything I can to get Angelo Bono and to devote my entire life to do everything I possibly can to give my life so that nobody else will hopefully won't follow my footsteps.
It's taken me years to actually believe anything that Ken Bianchi says, because I've been influenced by what I've read, by the professionals in this case. I trusted their word that this was a man who was a liar and a psychopath. But this man had no presumption of innocence, not even from the defense attorney, who did everything he could to get a confession and a guilty verdict. The job of the prosecutor done by the defense attorney. You know, I'd like to have my convictions shaken. Like, I really would. I more than, as much as anyone, would like to see a simple solution with the rightful answer that the correct and horrific predator has been put behind bars. And in my career, I am no bleeding heart for those that cry foul of the criminal justice system, but